Welcome to EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show, only here on EO Alive.
Hey, Eastern Oregon, thanks for joining us today. And it's a pleasure to have with me Scott Carpenter, who is one of the directors of the Grande School District, and Jenny Fager, who is responsible for a new program that the school district is starting called HomeLink. So, hey, thank you guys for jumping in with me today.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
So Scott, you guys are starting something new. And talk to me a little bit about this. Tell me, what is this, and why is this different than what the school district has been doing?
Well, we figure in a year of everything being new, why not one more thing? Why not have one more thing new? This program, or the concept for this program, came out of the idea that we have in La Grande had homeschool families that have opted out of the district for a long, long time. We have tried to create an online program or some other tools or resources to be able to support them, but have missed the mark in the past in being able to provide what they really needed. Through COVID, we had more families joining this homeschool population, and as we listened and learned from them, recognized that online, it wasn't the solution, wasn't what they were after. They wanted a physical curriculum. They wanted a little bit of guidance from a teacher, but they really wanted to take the lead with their children. And so we have spent the last couple of months working with ODE and working with our regional partners to create this program so that we could provide a paper-based curriculum that meets the demands of the state in terms of providing an educational program, and is sort of facilitated, and we have a certified teacher that can come alongside families and provide the support on an individualized level. So if a family feels really good about math, that they could be able to do that and explore that on their own, but really get some English support or some other support. We pay for 100% of the curriculum. We pay for the staff. There are a few requirements that we'll get into a little bit later, but we're excited to engage with our homeschool families in a new way.
Great. Well, and introduce us to Jenny and how she fits into this program, Scott.
Well, I'm really excited about Jenny. In these programs, it really comes down to the right person, and she is that right person. She's got a wide range of experience. She was a homeschool parent for a number of years, and we're just really excited to have her on board to be able to engage with our homeschool families.
Well, very cool. So Jenny, tell us about yourself. You're not new here. You've been in the Valley. Yeah. So kind of tell us about your educational journey. You are a homeschool parent. That's kind of interesting. Talk to us about your background and what you look forward about doing this.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's super exciting to be a part of it. And I have a sort of, I guess you'd say maybe an eclectic education background. I've spent almost equal parts of my career working in education curriculum policy research area, and I've worked extensively as an education writer and writing education curriculum. Been involved in a couple of very big projects for some of the biggest school districts in the United States, so that's been very interesting and learned a ton through that. And then I've also been a classroom teacher and had experience in special ed classroom as well as regular education classrooms, both public school, private school, and online charter school. And then, yes, I also was a homeschool parent and really have always treasured that time that I spent at home with my kids doing that. So I feel like I bring that real well-rounded background to the position and can come at it from a parent's perspective, a curriculum perspective, and a teacher's perspective.
Well, very cool. And so not all homeschoolers have a teacher as their teacher, their home teacher. And so that's really fortunate for your family and for your kids. I guess talk to me about, if you don't mind, your choice of homeschooling and maybe how this program will appeal to people like yourself that made that choice to homeschool?
Sure. I think a lot of homeschooling families just feel very passionate about, as Scott says, being in the driver's seat when it comes to the education of their children. And we want to really respect and honor that decision. But what is particularly neat about this program, what I would have loved had it been available about 10, 12 years ago for my own children, is that you get to have a partner when you sign up to be part of the HomeLink program. It's not me coming alongside people to micromanage what they're doing. It's to support what they're doing and to provide that expertise. And as Scott mentioned earlier, there, at least I know was the case for me, there were areas of curriculum that I felt stronger in and more confident in, and those that I felt less confident in. And so again, that's something where if somebody is less comfortable teaching their children math, then that can be something that I can be directly involved in and help out. So I think those are some of the pieces that I'm most excited about.
So for people who might not, I did not, we didn't homeschool our kids. And so I'm not, I have friends that do, but maybe, I don't know, before we go on, what is the normal homeschool situation like? I mean, how does that work for those people that have never done that? They've never experienced that. I don't know, maybe talk about that briefly. What does that look like?
You mean like day in the life kind of?
Yeah. The day in the life of a homeschool family.
I think it varies widely. One of the beauties of it obviously is people get to create a schedule that really fits their family. And so I don't know that there is a standard. Some people are extremely organized and have a schedule chart listed somewhere in the home, and others less so. So there's not a one right way to do it. So I'm not sure if that's a great answer, but it really is. It's very much an individualized system that people create for their families.
Brandon, if I can add to that.
Please.
I think you're pointing at that homeschool, there's reasons why a lot of us, I never chose homeschool, you didn't choose homeschool, and that's because it takes a significant time and energy commitment. And this program doesn't change that. What it does is it supports it and provides resources, the resources of the district to buoy it up. And so we want to be very clear and transparent with families that if you are questioning whether or not you still have that time and commitment to be able to carry your student or support your student through 6 core topic areas, that it might not be the right approach, but certainly if you are passionate about that, like Jenny indicated, and want to pursue that path, that the district's now provided a way for you to do that.
So talk to me about the curriculum. What is the curriculum this is based on? How did you guys come to that decision? And how does that interact with, how does that interface with homeschoolers and what they might already be doing?
Prior to sort of opening the program, we reviewed about 15 different homeschool curriculums, pre-established homeschool curriculums. We knew we were entering the homeschool space, not vice versa. And so we went through a wide range of those. We selected 2. One is called Oak Meadow, and it's a literature sort of core focused homeschool curriculum. The other curriculum that we've identified has become very popular among the families that have showed early interest, and it's called Timberdoodle. And that it's got a range of everything from STEM robotics all the way to core math and English, and that we provide that to families. So families do have a choice in sort of the curriculum approach that they want to engage in, and a wide range of tools to be able to educate the whole child, even within the homeschool, even within the HomeLink program.
So, but the bottom line though is that they're still going to have to do the heavy lifting. They're still going to have to, I mean, if they adapt the program, if they're a part of it, their obligation to educate their child is going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing. So then I guess that begs the question of what and you kind of alluded to this a little bit, Jenny, and that is how can you help them with some of the obstacles that they might face when they're homeschooling themselves?
I think the biggest piece of that is we're going to be in regular communication. Part of the program and part of some of the requirements that we're meeting through the state is that we have daily attendance checks. We'll also have regular visits. I'm also creating weekly pacing guides that really dials in exactly what needs to be accomplished in each subject day by day. Obviously, there's flexibility within that, and that's where I come in and working with families. But really, we're taking a lot of the guesswork out of that sort of, and that is an issue, I think. And putting on my homeschool parent hat, sometimes it's a little difficult to know if you're hitting the mark, right? If you're doing what you should be doing, if your kid's progressing the way they should. And so this really, again, allows that support to have that pacing and to work in partnership with the school district to support that.
No, that's awesome.
Brent, if I can
Yeah.
partner or add on to that, there are significant barriers to making the decision to go to homeschool. One is the cost of the curriculum, and families may decide to shortchange the curriculum just because of the family budget. We chose a very rigorous curriculum, but also an engaging curriculum. Again, it's higher end, so the district covers that cost or removes that barrier. The other barrier is on the backside when parents are thinking about re-entering the district, and there's this guesswork of, did I adequately prepare my student to be ready to re-enter that classroom? Are they going to be ahead, or are they going to be behind? And by having the support of the district, you remove that guesswork on the backside. So we can have a successful re-entry and be able to take advantage at the higher grades of classrooms like band and choir, woods, metals, where the school district can provide the facilities that a family might not have access to.
That's awesome. So then some of those in a non-COVID climate, then some of those industrial arts, they have a different name for it now. What is it? CTE?
Yeah, career and technical education.
Yeah. Some of those things then students can be involved in where homeschool students could be involved in where they haven't before.
Right.
So, and that's good. And I guess I'm working out for the first time in 20 years on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And part of it is because I figured out that if the only one that's holding me accountable is myself, that's not going to work. But if I have a coach or if I have someone that I'm checking in with, then it just changes the whole game. And I would imagine, that would be, if I were homeschooling my kids, there would be times when I would get up and it'd be like, we'll just do it later. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Yeah, I know you're struggling with science right now. Let me do a little investigation. I'll get back to you on that. And, it would roll. So I can see where that, Jenny, would be a huge help to have some kind of mile marker for students, some kind of accountability. I think that would be huge. What do you think, if you, in your situation when you were homeschooling, would that have helped you?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that was a perfect analogy. And I even like the word coach with that, because it's a partnership, and it's that support of that other person encouraging you. And if you kind of run up against something that feels frustrating, that you have somebody to sort of thought partner with you and work it out. And I absolutely love that. And yeah, I would have loved to have that as well. Just to have somebody kind of taking some of the lift out of the planning piece. And of course, the curriculum itself, knowing that there's a teacher and district level people that sort of have eyes on the curriculum and are checking it out and kind of blazing the trail in front of you and saying, yep, this is the direction we're going. And the other really cool thing is that I'll be working with families to sort of curate a portfolio of work that we will then use to develop grades for the students. So it's just, there's just so many cool pieces to this that we're really excited about.
Great. So, and Scott, you talked about the curriculum. Then, is there a cost to the families? Talk about that a little bit. How, what do they need to do? What is their obligation in being a part of this?
So just to give you a round figure, the curriculum costs the district around $900 for the school year, because it covers so many different topics and areas of quality curriculum. If the student or the family stay in the program for more than a semester, they get to keep all the curriculum and resources, all the tools that come with the program. We don't ask for that back. In fact, we hope that they use that and use it with other kids that they may have in their home. Every year when they sign up for the program, they get the next grade level or curriculum package, and then Jenny helps them to work through that curriculum over the course of the next year. If a family does find that it doesn't fit their needs and they leave before the semester ends, there is a prorated fee depending on where we are in the semester, just because most of the curriculum is consumable. So it's really hard for me to collect that back and to say, okay, pieces and parts. So there is a little bit of a financial liability to the family when they enter, but as long as they stick with it through the semester with the support of Jenny, they can be able to keep all the tools and resources that come with the program.
That's great. Now, what grades, Jenny, are specifically, what does this program target at this point?
Right now, we're targeting primarily kindergarten through 5th grade, with the potential of possibly 6th grade. And we'll see. I guess I can let Scott speak to additional grades somewhere in the future. But for now, that's the focus.
Brent, the reason for the focus on grades K through 5 or K6 is because the attendance requirements of the state. Currently, all education programs are required for daily check-ins. So if you're in grades K through 6, it's 1 check-in per day, and you're able to either through Class Dojo or an email or a text or some communication to say we're participating, we're engaging, and to be able to share, do you have any questions, and engage with staff, and that counts towards attendance. And in this program, we have to keep attendance records. If you go to grades 7 through 12, it's per period attendance. And one of the things we know about homeschool families is that they're very independent. They don't want to feel like they're constantly checking in or answering or being micromanaged. And so we intentionally started the program and said, we have various ways for you to be able to check in. They're very, very easy to navigate, and it doesn't feel like we are constantly intruding like we would if it was a 7 through 12 type program.
So, and the advantage of the accountability and the connection and the checking in is then they know that if their kid is in the 3rd grade, then at the end of the 3rd grade, they're going to be at 3rd grade level. And if they chose to go into a traditional school at 4th grade, they would be in line with all of the other students. Is that, am I getting that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So Scott, are there anything other than what you just mentioned? Are there any other hoops that parents need to jump through on a regular basis? Or I don't know, is there, how does the interaction happen in COVID and during COVID time? I mean, talk to me a little bit about other things that parents need to know.
On our end, it really is about attendance and providing feedback. A couple of keywords that have been mentioned a couple times are partnering and coaching, that we really are coming alongside families to partner with them and to support them. It really is true that when a family signs up for homeschool, that they sort of enter the Wild West and a multitude or infinite options of how to approach that. And that this is a way for the district to, I love what Jenny said earlier, to blaze a path that's secure, that when I enter this path, I have a good curriculum, I have good support, and when I leave, I can immediately input into the school district and feel comfortable and confident that my kid's prepared. So what we hope is that the requirements, even though sometimes requirements feel like they're restrictive, that they really are our way of supporting families to make sure that they can feel successful in navigating that program.
So real quick, Scott, give me a little bit broader view of, especially during COVID. So what's happened? There's traditional school, there's online. I don't know. Kind of give me an idea of the things. I mean, you guys got a lot of plates spinning. I know.
We have taken classes in gymnastics during COVID.
I guess. Yeah.
So right now we have our traditional on-site programs happening in K6 or K5. Students are coming every day in a modified schedule to access their teacher in their classroom, and that's going tremendously well. We have a lot of gratitude for our families and our teachers for making that program fly. In grades 6 through 12, families students can access school on an A-B schedule, so every other day, so that we can maintain the cohort requirements that we have from the state. And that's going very well. We just listened to our school leadership president, our ASB president, at the board meeting last night, and he was big smile saying, "Thank you for getting me back in school." So I was happy to hear that. We also offer our LVLA, so the Grande Virtual Learning Academy. We have 3 different platforms that we use to support families, whether it's Google Classroom or Accelis or Accelerate Education. And then we offer this HomeLink program. It's a paper-based model through the Grande Virtual Learning Academy. And then if a family has a significant sort of challenge, we've even worked out some short-term CDL options or comprehensive distance learning, so that they can continue to work through their regular teacher at their school site, but work through Google Classroom to engage with their peers while they overcome illness or sickness, those types of things. That maybe they're quarantined, so that then they can re-enter the classroom when those short-term issues are over and be able to go right back into their classroom. So we have a lot of different approaches right now. We feel it's our obligation to do that right now, given COVID, and just every family situation is different. We appreciate our community being a partner with us and sticking with us during this hard time. And we appreciate more than anything our staff and our school board. Superintendent Mendoza's worked very hard to make sure that we're leading from the front and trying to provide options for families that can meet their needs. Awesome.
Now, you mentioned something that just kind of stuck out, and that is paper-based. And I mean, we are inundated with a virtual world right now, and communicating in front of a webcam and so on and so forth. So Jenny, and I know that's an important part of this homeschool program. Define that for us a little bit. What does paper-based mean?
Well, I just think of a workbook, something physical, a material that students and parents can hold in their hands. So that's probably the simplest way to think about it. A textbook, a workbook, clay, or some of our STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics activities that involve putting together robotics and that kind of thing. So it's not interacting and engaging your learning through a screen. Probably is the simplest way.
Good. And go ahead, Scott.
I would just add that there are families out there that are concerned about the significant amount of screen time their students experiencing, whether that's the TV or the gaming system or their phone. We are increasingly doing everything via screen. And so this is a way for them to some degree control that screen time and engage directly with their student in a meaningful way.
Excellent. And the curriculum then that they invest in kind of on a trial basis, and if they stick with the program, then they don't have to pay for that. That is the notebook. That is the clay. That is all of the material that they need to continue their homeschool learning for the year. I mean, I've never gotten a homeschool learning kit, so I don't know what's in it. Yeah, so.
Extensive.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of it spread out on the floor in my classroom last week, and I said, this looks like teacher Christmas. It was wonderful. All kinds of books and learning tools. It just was very exciting. I geeked out on it for quite a while.
Well, very cool. Well, this sounds awesome, and what a cool program. And so Scott, again, just boil it down. If I were a homeschool, or Jenny, you can, whichever one you think, why would I consider this? What is the advantage to me doing this, over me doing it on my own?
I'll leave it to Jenny.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Scott. I would say this. I think a couple of things. It's really important to underscore that this is not for everybody. You really, Scott articulated it very well, in that this represents a significant time investment for parents. And in addition to that, one of the common things that as a teacher, I would gush about a student to a parent and say how wonderful the student was. And the parent would kind of eyes open and go, wow, okay, that's a little different than what I see at home. Meaning oftentimes, it can be a little tougher for parents to teach their own children. So that's very common, very common. And so you need to think about that parent-student dynamic, parent-child dynamic, that's part of it, as well as just that time investment. But if both of those things seem to be doable, and you're very interested in being in that driver's seat for your child's education, in addition to having that willingness to be partnering with the school district, then I think it would be a great fit.
And so go ahead, Scott.
Brent, I look at our family. I have 4 daughters, and for us to tackle, my wife and I are very educated people, but to tackle educating them at home on our own, not really knowing either the curriculum or the timeline or those types of things, just getting started, it would have been very challenging. And so to have someone like Jenny to be able to support us, to call, to be able to say, what do you think about this, or this isn't working, what should I try? All those tools would have been immeasurable in our ability to be successful. And I think that's what this district program brings to that willingness to be engaged with your child in that way.
So if someone if they're already homeschooling, they've already figured out how to teach their own kids, which would be a humongous burden for most parents, then the advantage to them partnering with the school district is that it's Jenny. I mean, when it comes, that's part of it. It's Jenny. She's going to be checking up on you. There's a mile marker. There's more accountability, which people have to volunteer for accountability. They have to say, okay, we want to engage in that, but there's tremendous benefit. And they're going to have to take attendance. And so it's not just a mile marker, but there's got to be something accomplished every day if there's going to be attendance. I mean, am I hitting the points right?
Yep. Yeah. There's one last thing though. I would say, wait, there's more.
Okay.
I would say that this program takes whatever you're doing as a homeschool family and can actually add to it. So in some cases, we don't require families to give up their homeschool status with the ESD, so they can continue their English, their math, their science, their social studies, what they're doing. And if they're interested in our art, our STEM, or any of those content areas, that we can come alongside them and be able to offer, whether it's 1, 2, 3 classes to further their homeschool approach. So in some cases, it's not just all or nothing. It's not just all, look, you opt into this HomeLink program and you have to do the whole thing. In some cases, it can be, tell us what you're already doing, what you're doing well, and let's augment that and add to that. So that's another reason why I'm pretty excited about this program.
And do they have to be in La Grande? Do they have to be, talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So any La Grande School District, any program only serves La Grande School District residents. That's our boundary. And we are not going to be, we're not aiming to empty Cove or empty Embler School District. We are just striving very hard to serve La Grande School District families and anyone who lives in our residential school district boundaries to the best we can. And so, yes, we're not going after school students in other districts, but we just want to reach all of the students in our geographic region and serve them the best we can.
All right, cool. Well, so I'm going to break it to my daughter a little later on that I've enrolled my grandchildren in this. Where do I need to do that at? How do we sign up?
So you would come to Willow Elementary, or you would reach out to myself or Jenny through email. It's just our first.last@lagrandesd.org. And give us an email. Say I'm a little bit interested. Please tell me more, and we would be happy to reach out to you and go from there.
That's awesome. Great. Well, anything else that we've forgotten or that you want to mention before we take off?
I feel like we've covered it.
Okay.
Pretty well, but I'm sure we'll think of something later on.
I'm sure, but if we have a question, if people have a question, then they can get a hold of you guys. Go to the website, and so there's just a number of ways that people can engage, and I'm sure that you would encourage them to do so.
And Brent, I should say also that we're fortunate enough to have some samples of the curriculum right here in my classroom. And I've already had parents that have just come in to sit and go through it. And that's one thing I would say, as when I was homeschooling my children, it was really difficult to try and pick out a curriculum. Even if you can sort of browse through it online, it's not the same as having that book in your hand and being able to flip through it. Or in addition to that, having somebody to talk to about it that can sort of guide you through it a little bit, because not all of the curriculums are the same, and it can be difficult to navigate. So I would encourage, if anyone is interested, there would be more than welcome to set up a time to come in, and they could just sit and look through what we have.
Great. And where are you at, Jenny? Where is your classroom at?
I'm at Willow as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it just giving me a call or an email, we can set up a time, and I would love to do that with people.
Great. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And this sounds like a cool thing. And Scott, I just want to tell you, I've known you. We've had lots of conversations. I know George, same thing. And I really appreciate how much you guys care and work at educating our kids. So way to go, man. Yeah. So yeah, I think very highly of the La Grande School District. And I tell parents, I take pictures of all of the hospital providers when they come into town, and the one thing I tell them is the wonderful thing about La Grande is a great place to raise your kids. And, if you think something needs to change at the school district or something, there's a place for you to insert yourself and get involved and volunteer, and your voice will be heard, and it can make a difference. And that's awesome. So. Well,
we appreciate partnering with you, Brent, whether it's with athletics or in formats like this with our town halls. It's been great to be able to do that. And you're right. We try to respond. Sometimes we can do better than others. But we are happy to support our community.
Good. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you, Eastern Oregon, for tuning in, as always. And we will see you next time.